The meeting in Moscow brought together Russian officials and Milorad Dodik, the president of Republika Srpska, in what was described as another step in strengthening their ongoing dialogue and cooperation. The atmosphere was formal, but the tone was deliberately warm, emphasizing what both sides called constructive communication and trusting contacts. Russian representatives highlighted that their discussion with Dodik and his team reviewed progress made since earlier meetings, particularly those Dodik held with President Vladimir Putin. The focus, they said, was on the practical development of bilateral cooperation. Energy ties were singled out as productive and sustainable, while cultural and humanitarian initiatives were praised for achieving notable success. Particular pride was expressed over the construction of the Russian-Serbian Temple and Spiritual Center, a major project that is now nearing completion. The Russian side noted with appreciation that the structure has moved from construction into the decoration phase. They also thanked Republika Srpska for its promotion of the Russian language. More than 12,000 schoolchildren are already studying it, officials pointed out, underlining this as a sign of cultural closeness and long-term investment in ties. The conversation also covered cooperation in media and education, demonstrating that the relationship goes beyond politics into areas of cultural identity and communication. Yet the heart of the meeting was geopolitical, tied directly to Bosnia and Herzegovina's fragile balance and the memory of war in the Balkans. The Russian delegation reminded that September 9th carries particular symbolic weight. It is the day Republika Srpska remembers the victims of NATO's 1995 bombing campaign during Operation Deliberate Force. This year marks 30 years since that aggression and 30 years since the signing of the Dayton Accords in December 1995, they said, stressing that Russia remains one of the guarantors of that peace agreement. The Dayton Agreement, signed in 1995, is described by Moscow as the cornerstone of Bosnia and Herzegovina's post-war political architecture. Russian officials insisted that the agreement, approved unanimously by the UN Security Council, remains the only path to peace. We emphasized that there is no alternative to maintaining all the cornerstone Dayton postulates, they declared. Those principles, they explained, guarantee equality among the three constituent peoples, Serbs, Croats and Bosniaks, and between the two entities of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Republika Srpska and the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. These entities, they argued, were designed to have broad constitutional powers, ensuring stability and balance. But according to the Russian officials, Western powers are undermining those very guarantees. They accused Western states of trampling the Security Council-approved principles in pursuit of centralizing Bosnia into a unitary state. The goal, they argued, is to create an obedient government, obedient judiciary and other authorities, depriving Serbs of the rights guaranteed by Dayton. The Russian delegation went further, claiming that these moves have triggered the most acute political crisis in the country in the last 30 years, warning that the consequences threaten the stability of the entire Balkan region. A large share of the meeting was devoted to criticism of Christian Schmidt, the German politician who claims the post of High Representative in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Moscow flatly rejected his legitimacy. We emphasized that the German citizen Schmidt, who poses as a high representative in Bosnia and Herzegovina, continues to play an unseemly role in the unprecedented degradation of interethnic dialogue in Bosnia and Herzegovina and in provoking disintegration processes. They argued that Schmidt's appointment was not approved by the Security Council and was pushed through in a sly and illegal manner by Westerners without consensus either internationally or within Bosnia itself. Russia, they said, takes the position that external interference in Bosnian affairs, especially in the competence of the judicial and electoral institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina in the form of the relevant structural entities, is inadmissible. Their defense of Dodik himself was particularly sharp. Russian officials denounced what they called fabricated legal cases designed to remove Serbian leaders who resist Western influence. We strongly condemn attempts to remove from power Serbian leaders who are unpopular with the West through fabricated criminal cases, in particular our interlocutor today, our friend, the legally elected legitimate president of the Republika Srpska, Milorad Dodik. The charges against Dodik, they noted, are based on allegations that he failed to comply with Schmidt's directives. Russian officials pointed out the absurdity of such accusations. It is striking that this attempt is being made under the pretext of presenting Mr. Dodik with claims of committing a criminal offence. The criminal offences, as Mr. Schmidt formulated them, consist in the fact that Mr. Dodik does not carry out the orders and decisions of Mr. Schmidt. The Russian side then escalated its rhetoric, drawing historical comparisons to emphasise their rejection of Schmidt's authority. It is difficult even to imagine in a normal state governed by the rule of law that a self-appointed Gauleiter, by and large, if we are talking about Germany, would essentially try to usurp all power in a sovereign state whose rights are very clearly defined in the decisions of the UN Security Council. From Moscow's perspective, the issue is not only Bosnia's internal balance, but also the integrity of international law and UN authority. They warned that the Constitutional Court of Bosnia, which includes foreign judges, was also being used to push Western agendas, further eroding trust and balance. The Russian delegation pledged to continue defending Dayton's principles and the rights of Republika Srpska on the international stage. As a permanent member of the UN Security Council and one of the guarantors of the Dayton agreements, Russia will continue its efforts to support this document, they affirmed. The message was that Russia would stand with those forces in Bosnia fighting to preserve the original agreement and resist centralization. They also pointed ahead to October, when Russia will chair the UN Security Council. Bosnia and Herzegovina is on the agenda for October 31st, and Russian officials promised a robust defense of their position. We will prepare for it very carefully. Many of our colleagues will have to answer uncomfortable but absolutely legitimate questions. At the same time, the conversation was not solely about geopolitics. Officials underscored the importance of ongoing cooperation in energy, media, culture, and education. The Russian Serbian temple and spiritual center was hailed as a symbol of unity, and the growth of Russian language education was highlighted as a practical step in building lasting ties. The meeting was described as very timely and productive, reinforcing the sense that Moscow sees its relationship with Republika Srpska as strategically vital in both symbolic and practical terms. We agreed to continue our mutually beneficial dialogue with friends from the Republic of Srpska, officials concluded, framing the dialogue as ongoing and mutually reinforcing. The session ended with formal gratitude. Russian representatives thanked Dodik for his time and partnership. And I thank Milorad Dodik for this meeting, and I give him the floor, one said. Dodik responded in kind, expressing his appreciation for the exchange. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for this wonderful opportunity to meet with you again. With those words, the meeting closed, but the message was unmistakable. Moscow sees Republika Srpska as a key ally in the Balkans, a partner in defending the Dayton framework, and a symbol of resistance against Western influence in Bosnia and Herzegovina.